Hi everyone, Petrik here. So yeah, welcome back to another episode of SFF Spotlight. And today's episode will be episode 81. And as usual, this is a series of videos where I usually talk about new cover reveals, new book news, and then new special edition and new Kickstarter campaign. Because it's been 2 weeks since my previous episodes, we have a lot of topics to cover. And I will start by talking about new book news first. And yeah, many of you have been asking me about when is the next SFF Spotlight is coming, and I'm happy to hear that. So yeah, today is that day. And for the first one that I'll be talking about, this is about Katabasis. Katabasis by R.F. Kuang finally has an official cover reveal together with the beautiful edges. And I had the pleasure of reading this book at the end of last month. I will be talking about that in my January wrap-up video. But yeah, this cover art, originally, I saw this cover art leaked on, I think on HarperCollins Canada website. And back then, I thought it was a good cover, but I did not think that it was an amazing cover. But after reading the book, I think this is actually a very fitting cover art, and that edges is absolutely beautiful. But one thing I did not mention who the cover artist is, because I don't know who the cover artist for Katabasis is. And it's quite shocking that no one, not the publisher, nobody has mentioned who the cover artist is. If you know who the cover artist or the cover designer behind this edition, please do let me know. I believe this is the US edition. But yeah, the book is great, and I'll be talking about that more in a bit more in depth in my January wrap-up video, or maybe I will make a dedicated review for Katabasis by R.F. Kuang. And then after that, the same situation, and this is for Written on the Dark by Guy Gavriel Kay. This book will be published at the end of May 2025. In the case of Katabasis, that book will be out in August 2025. And Written on the Dark by Guy Gavriel Kay, the newest book, the newest standalone novel by Guy Gavriel Kay, will be out at the end of May 2025. I know many of you are die-hard Guy Gavriel Kay fans, so I assume this will make a lot of you happy. For me, I had a lot of mixed feelings reading Guy Gavriel Kay's work, but I personally am a huge fan of Tigana by Guy Gavriel Kay. And well, I did not like, I think the name is Sailing to Sarantium, and also very unpopular opinion, The Lions to Al Rasan. I still need to give that book a try again someday if I want to. But yeah, as I said, I had mixed feelings regarding his books, but I truly love Tigana by Guy Gavriel Kay. And then moving on to the next topic, at least for this one, we had the cover artist mentioned, because this is the same cover artist behind Legends and Lattes and also Bookshops and Bundas. So I'm talking about the new book by Travis Baldree, Brigands and Breadknives. And yeah, as you can see, if you have read Bookshops and Bundas, you can see Fern on the cover art again. So it will, I think we can safely say that this book will feature Fern again, and I look forward to reading the next adventure in the world of Legends and Lattes. And the cover art, just like the previous two books in Legends and Lattes, is once again illustrated by Carson Lowe Miller. And yeah, I think it is another beautiful cover art, and I look forward to reading this book. So that's it for the traditionally published books. Before we move on to talk about the sub-published fantasy books and also cover reveal, I want to spotlight one thing, and this is about the release of Red God. So in a recent interview by Pierce Brown with Modest Book Club, so yeah, in an interview on Instagram, Pierce Brown mentioned that Red God will not be releasing in 2025 after all. There is a good chance that the soonest this one, Red God, is the final book in the Red Rising saga. This book, the soonest it will be out, will be in summer 2026. And there is even a possibility that it will be divided into 2 volumes because it is too big. But Pierce Brown has mentioned that he doesn't want that happening if possible. So yeah, if you are a fan of the Sun Eater and the Red Rising saga, just like me, then I think we can focus on the Sun Eater this year, because the Shadows Upon Time, the final book, is definitely being released at the end of this year. But moving on to the self-published fantasy portion, I'd like to give a spotlight to the 6th book in the Arcane Ascension series, with another cover art by Daniel Kamarudin and also designed by Sean Ticking. This is A Brief History of Chronomancy by Andrew Rowe. What a beautiful title. That's a badass title for a fantasy book. And yeah, I think this is one of my favorite cover art probably my favorite cover art in the entire Arcane Ascension so far. Daniel Kamarudin did such a great job with this cover art. Beautiful, really, and I love the design overall. I haven't continued reading this series past the second book, so I still have a lot of books to catch up on regarding Arcane Ascension. I believe this series will be 7 books long, so if nothing changed, this is actually the penultimate installment of the entire Arcane Ascension series. And it's quite crazy to think about that, because I read Sufficiently Advanced Magic, I think in the year 2017. So yeah, it has been 7 years, almost 8 years since I read Sufficiently Advanced Magic. And onward to the next one. This is for the third and the final book in the Sundered Nations trilogy by Vaughn Roycroft. This is for Destiny's Doom. Another illustration, beautiful illustration by John Anthony Di Giovanni. And yeah, John Anthony Di Giovanni, he did such a great job on the cover art of this entire trilogy. Whether it's the first book, The Severing Sun, or the second book, The Bold Ascension. I haven't read the second book yet, but I enjoyed reading the first book in the Sundered Nation trilogy. Hopefully Destiny's Doom will provide a great conclusion to the entire trilogy. But yeah, I need to read the second book as soon as I can as well. For the next book, this is actually not a new book. This is a new cover reveal though. This is a cover reveal for a new edition of Illborn by Daniel T. Jackson. So again, this cover art is basically follow the same pattern and the same design of the second and the third book, because Daniel T. Jackson changed cover designer back when he was releasing the second book, I Dual Sin. And the Gatebound is releasing this year as well. Gatebound is the third and the penultimate installment of the Illborn saga, and I look forward to reading it as soon as possible. But Illborn is getting a new paperback edition with a new cover art. And hey, I'm really glad to see that I am featured on the back cover of Illborn by Daniel T. Jackson. It is a great book, and I Dual Sin is a great sequel as well. Hopefully Gatebound will be another amazing book in the Illborn saga. And then speaking of getting a new cover art treatment, the same goes for this series that I absolutely love. This is for Of Blood and Bone trilogy by John Gwynne. Of Blood and Bone trilogy is the second series in the Banished Land saga, and the new cover art will be again illustrated and designed by Paul Young, but this time it will follow the same color scheme with the Faithful and the Fallen. So the entire paperback edition, this is only for the paperback, so this entire paperback edition will match as the Banished Land saga. And because originally Of Blood and Bone trilogy features a more darker tone and darker color scheme compared to the Faithful and the Fallen, and this time it will be a similar color scheme with a similar typography as well. And I really like the new cover art and also the new cover design, and hopefully there will be a hardback edition coming for this eventually. And finally, for the topic of new book news, after that we will be talking about special edition and Kickstarter campaign. So for the topic of book news, this is for manga, and I'm really excited about this because Kingdom by Yasuhisa Hara, which is one of my favorite manga series of all time, is finally getting an official English print edition by Viz Media starting from this November. I don't know how many years it will take for them to adapt this into print edition. If, let's say, they're publishing one volume per month, it will still take them 7 years to actually publish all the available volumes in Kingdom so far, because I think the series is about 80 volumes now, almost 80 volumes in Japanese. Probably, I could be mistaken about that, but yeah, I really love this historical fiction series. If you love The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu, and you want to read something of that kind of story again in manga format, but it is more action-packed with a great strategy and also great tactics for battles, definitely try reading Kingdom. It is amazing, an amazing manga series, really. So that's it on the coverage of new book news and also new cover reveals. Now let's talk about new special edition. I'm going to start from the 2 high-end edition first. For the first one, this is from Conversation Tree Press. So some of you have been asking me when they announced Solaris, I think that's the name of their special edition, Foundation and Solaris. Some of you have been asking me that I should actually mention Conversation Tree Press as well. And now they have announced their new Shortstop edition. Shortstop is their, well, their series of special edition dedicated to publishing a letterpress and high press edition of a short story. Their first title was For the Paper Menagerie by Kenryu, and now they have announced their second title. And their second title will be There Will Come Soft Rains by Ray Bradbury. And this is a story about technology, nature, and human absence. It will be limited to 300 copies, and it is slated to be published and also going on sale on the 13th of February, and it will go on sale on 10 a.m. EST time zone. And it will features one frontispiece illustration by Guillaume Pongi Lupi. Do note though that this is a high-end letterpress edition, so I can only recommend this to many of you who are actually a die-hard fine press collector, and also, well, who are a huge fan of the short story, of course. But for the next title I'm going to spotlight, this is for Of Darkness and Light by Ryan Cahill, the Broken Binding Press edition. Yeah, this is finally the cover art has been revealed. It is a beautiful cover art by Nemo Art. And yeah, I really love this cover art. I think it is the best cover art in the entire Bound and the Broken series so far. And yeah, this one will finally goes on sale in March 2025. So if you are one of the lucky ones who actually got a copy of the, I think 1,500 copies of the first book of Blood and Fire and also The Fall, then you have the chance to actually get a copy of Darkness and Light Broken Binding Press edition, and it will be a stunning edition. I think in total there are 18 or 16 illustrations. I don't know, there are a lot of illustrations, I know, because I worked on this edition together with Ryan Cahill. So yeah, I really cannot wait though. I really cannot wait to see how this one will turns out in person. I think this will be the best edition of the Bound and the Broken so far. But speaking of Dragon Rider epic fantasy, the Broken Binding has revealed more of their work on Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini, with an art direction by Ion van Aswegen and also illustration by Jeff Brown, and then interior art by Peng Lu and end paper art by Rene. And yeah, I think this edition is turning into such a beautiful edition. I have only read Eragon, so I haven't read the rest of the series yet. I did help a bit on the board art, just giving advice and input, but the art brief and everything, it was handled by Ion van Aswegen. I think Ion did a great job on this Inheritance Cycle series. There will be more details about this and more art reveal, and yeah, make sure to check out their social media page. And also, speaking of the Broken Binding, they have announced their new sci-fi subs, and it is called Doomsday book by Connie Willis. I believe this one is a classic. I haven't read this book yet, and they haven't shown their cover art yet. I believe that will be coming really soon as well. And finally, for the last special edition that I want to spotlight from the Broken Binding, this is for A Drop of Corruption with the cover art by Tom Roberts. So because I'm a huge fan of the Tinted Cup and also Robert Jackson Bennett's books, I definitely will be getting a copy of A Drop of Corruption Broken Binding edition. And yeah, looking forward to reading this one as soon as I can. I know I say that a lot because there are indeed so many books that I want to read as soon as possible. And finally, for the last special edition I want to spotlight, this is actually not for an adult fantasy book, this is for a YA, but this is such a beautiful illustrated edition. I even got a copy of The Hunger Games, and yeah, I'm talking about the Catching Fire illustrated edition. And this is the second book in the Hunger Games trilogy, and this time, again, just like the first book, it is illustrated by Nico Delort, and it's so beautiful. I love the cover art. I think the cover art is better than the cover art of the Hunger Games illustrated edition, and I cannot wait to read this series for the first time using this illustrated edition. Let's see how it will turn out. And now we move on to the section of Kickstarter campaigns. I only have 2 Kickstarter campaigns to spotlight, and for the first one, again, this is for a limited edition bookmark that I partner with Wraithmarked. The bookmark is illustrated by Tom Yilson, and on one side it features me in magical clothing, and also on one side it features Chocoboy in his samurai armor. Yeah, so silver foiling on this on my side, and then gold foiling on Chocoboy's side. And yeah, I'm really pleased with how this one is turning, and I can only say thank you so much really to many of you who have backed this Kickstarter campaign. And if you are interested in this Kickstarter campaign, I have attached the link to the campaign in the description down below. I believe this one will be over in 2 weeks, and there is only one more stretch goals to meet. Again, thank you so much really to many of you who have backed this Kickstarter campaign. And finally, the last Kickstarter campaign I want to spotlight today, this is for a new book by S.A. Kaufenstein, and this is another Dragon Rider epic fantasy. And the title of this book is Children of the Gods, and it features a cover art by Joe Requeza, and Joe Requeza is also illustrating some of the interior illustrations together with Sutiwa Decha Kampu. And once again, this cover art is designed by Rachel Sinclair together with the board as well. I will leave the link to the Kickstarter campaign for this hardcover edition in the description down below. And finally, on a matter of new noteworthy release, Grave Empire by Richard Swan is out now. This is the sequel series, a standalone sequel series to the Empire of the Wolf trilogy. So this one takes place like hundreds of years after the events of the Empire of the Wolf trilogy. And yeah, I haven't read Grave Empire yet, but so far I think the reception for this one has been incredibly positive. And I believe many people have even mentioned that this one is even better than the Justice of Kings. So yeah, that sounds super awesome to me because I really love the Justice of Kings and its sequel, The Tyranny of Fate. And I hope Grave Empire will be just as good, or maybe, as some people said, even better than the Justice of Kings. And finally, for the last topic of this SFF Spotlight, this is about George R. Martin's comment regarding Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. It seems like George R. Martin is very pleased with the 6 episodes that he has watched on A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms adaptation, so The Tale of Dung and Egg. And yeah, I really like A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, and it seems like, as George Martin said, this TV show will not be action-centered, and I think that's the right choice. The book itself is not action-centered at all. And A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is basically an adaptation of the H Knight, the first novella in A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms series. So yeah, I really look forward to watching this one. Hopefully this will be even better than House of the Dragon, because I really loved the season 1 of House of the Dragon, but I'm a bit disappointed with season 2. Hopefully A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms TV show adaptation will be a better experience, because I think ever since the conclusion of A Game of Thrones, there hasn't been like a fantasy adaptation as viral as and insane and anticipated as A Game of Thrones, despite the last 2 seasons. So yeah, there's that. I think that pretty much covers today's SFF Spotlight episode. And yeah, it has been a bit difficult for me to make videos lately because life is just continuously so punishing and busy lately. So yeah, I try my best to make some time to post videos that I like to post as well. I really want to post video reviews, book reviews as well, long form videos if possible. But I don't know whether time will allow me on that. Hopefully I will get some time to do that. But again, I just want to say thank you so much to all of you who keep on supporting my videos, even my breaks, and also my channel and my written reviews. It means a lot to me. So yeah, as always, do let me know what you think about everything that I spotted in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your support. Bye bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.